One of the topics I get asked to speak on pretty regularly, and I think from people with a real sincere interest, is feminism. And really what they want me to comment on is what feminism has become in, say, the last 10 or 15 years. I'm hesitant to speak on this because it's an example of an issue on which I do not think I can make a positive difference, or not by talking about it. I'm in the class of people who has tremendous respect for first-wave feminism and second-wave feminism. I'll explain what those terms mean in just a second. But I'm extremely disappointed with third-wave feminism. And it seems to me that the word and concept of feminism really has been brought into a state of disrepute by what third-wave feminism has become. There's a lesson for vegans in that. Now, before I even get to the question of what those terms mean, they are, I think, well enough defined on Wikipedia, if you want to look them up. It has to be said, feminism is not in the situation that communism was in after 1989. Communism didn't just have a credibility deficit, didn't just make itself sound ridiculous. It wasn't just rude or offensive or disappointing to its fans. Communism had a body count measured in the millions of people. Communism had failures in almost every sphere it competed in, including things like agriculture, food production. So feminism, we can't point to any disaster in third-wave feminism comparable in scale or severity to what we're talking about when we suggest that communism has discredited itself. It's a very important caveat. And I'd also say there's no sense in which feminism can ever discredit itself to the same extent that Catholicism does every day. The Catholic religion, likewise, has a body count measured in the millions of people historically. I realize they don't kill millions of people every year, but looking back over the centuries, Catholicism is attached to a remarkable history of violence, oppression, etc., which all of us have to take seriously. We're all burdened with the legacy of that, no matter what your personal religious beliefs are, whether you're an atheist or a Catholic or what have you. And of course, when Catholics sit down to pray, they're talking to a God that doesn't exist. That discredits the Catholic creed in a very different sense, of course. And, I say even that with some degree of sympathy. I know what it's like to want to believe in something that can never be real. I know what it's like to care passionately about something matters to you but can never be true. And I do feel sorry for true believers in a religion like Catholicism. First-wave feminism, I won't say too much, but first-wave feminism is associated with the basically heroic era of struggling for women to have basic human rights, such as the right to vote, the right to drink alcohol, the right to smoke cigarettes. That may sound like a joke, but it's not. In many countries historically, they used to have laws that prevented women from smoking, at least in public, or this kind of thing. So getting basic rights of this kind. I remember reading an account of that, a woman who had to dispute the authorities, this is over 100 years ago, because she was daring to smoke cigarettes in a train station. And again, this is in Europe. It may sound like a joke, but it's not a joke. First-wave feminism in the Western world was associated with fundamental human rights that, in a sense, nobody disputes. I can't even say that. Hilariously, third-wave feminism has become so odious and so noxious that I have seen people seriously try to dispute the validity of first-wave feminism just because they have a chip on their shoulders over third-wave feminism. But in any case, the vast majority of people, both conservative and liberal, recognize that first-wave feminism was something tremendously important and positive in the history of Western civilization. And most of us feel, although we may have trouble expressing it politely, that it still is something tremendously important for many countries that are religiously conservative, whether those are Muslim countries or Christian countries. Certainly, at least some neighborhoods within the one Jewish country in the world, within Israel, first-wave feminism still has an important message for conservative Jews, no doubt. So there are still conflicts that fall under that heading. Second-wave feminism is a new era of challenges, and it is especially associated with some of the sexual identity politics that first-wave feminists were not comfortable in dealing with. And then third-wave feminism is the current era we're in. That, as I say, it's just really a great shame. I wish I lived in a world where I could use the word feminist positively, but it's become so noxious and so odious in its third wave incarnation, in the sequel to the original concepts of feminism, that I really do understand why all kinds of people have distanced themselves from the term or have even made an effort to ridicule the term. And, you know, I mean, all this stuff touches me. I've had girlfriends who strongly identified as feminist, although I think none of them were thinking of third wave feminism. They were thinking of first and second wave. And I remember once I was watching one of these hilarious blooper reels on the internet where people put together the greatest hits moments of academic third wave feminist conferences. You know, different professors and graduate students standing at the podium, speechifying on feminism. And, you know, these are kind of the most embarrassing or outrageous moments. And one of my blood relations was actually on camera. I don't think it named her, you know, the video, but I knew right from her voice. I knew right away who it was. And I emailed that to some of my relatives, and none of them replied. And it was completely ridiculous what she was saying. Now, again, I feel like putting in a caveat here. The difference between feminism and, say, Buddhism, because I've been involved with the academic study of Buddhism, is that if I put together a blooper reel like that of the most outrageous and most ridiculous things that professors of Buddhism say at a conference, almost nobody would understand it. Like me and 5 other guys would be able to laugh at. Okay, maybe worldwide 15 to 20 guys would really be able to laugh at a video like that, because what we do within the academic study of Buddhism relies on jargon. It relies on technical knowledge, deep historical knowledge of a certain specialized literature. And even then, you know, religious maniacs, many of whom are professors, they'll never admit what's hilarious and ridiculous about this. But yeah, you can have clips from a conference of Buddhist professors, and there will be a professor up there making excuses for slavery, and there will be another professor, but it'll be coded in such a way that you won't realize how ridiculous it is unless you're already a specialist in the field. And feminism's not like that. It's true that outsiders, people who aren't members of that field, can pretty easily scrutinize and laugh at what's going on within the hothouse at those conferences. So, yeah, my heart goes out to people on all sides in a lot of ways. I think that right now in 2016, we're in a period of time where the promotion of feminism in the Western world has become lame because it's become detached from those fundamental principles of first wave feminism, if you like. And on the other hand, I have to say the whole demi-monde of anti-feminism is also extremely lame and embarrassing to me, and tends to fail to recognize that you are often looking at people who have good intentions. And that's something hard for us to do in veganism also, right? When you're looking at someone who's actually going out and preaching that human beings should stop using soap. I've seen that not just on the internet. I've dealt with that face-to-face. Vegans who are out there teaching their fellow man that they should stop washing their hands with soap, and they sincerely believe that. As wrong and misguided as they are, I have to engage with that person, beginning with the recognition that they are, from their perspective, sincerely trying to make the world a better place.